So here's a fun topic: suffering. Okay, maybe not so fun, but it is important. We spend a lot of our lives trying to avoid suffering.
I don't want to mow the lawn. It's hot.
I don't want to go to the doctor to get a shot. No!
Or helping other people avoid suffering.
Watch out, you're gonna crash!
Hey, don't run with those. All right, let's check you for fleas. You know, there's different categories of suffering. There's suffering that you deserve.
Robin, you kick like a girl. You can't hurt me. Watch this. I'll even stand real still. Oh!
There's suffering that you should have seen coming. An F? But I studied so hard for this. There's the kind of suffering like when someone has been sick in the hospital, or when someone has been a victim of violence. Or maybe you've been in a cemetery like this because someone who you love died and you miss them. Is that suffering? You bet it is. And then there's another kind of suffering. Listen to what Peter says in the Bible. Jesus suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in his steps. Now, I can think of lots of things that Jesus did that I would want to follow his example. I'd want to follow in his steps. You want to care for other people like Jesus did. You want to forgive other people like Jesus did. Jesus stood up for the weak, and you want to do that. Jesus honored God above everything else. Yeah, we want to follow that example. But don't forget this. Jesus did those good things, and he suffered for them. And so when you suffer for doing something good, suffering is actually okay. When you stand up for the person who's being bullied, you're following in Jesus' footsteps, even when you suffer. When you forgive the person who's difficult to forgive, you're following in Jesus' footsteps. When you honor God and someone says something bad about you for it, know that Jesus is right there with you. So you don't have to love suffering. You don't have to go out of your way and look for ways to suffer. Yeah, you know, I'd love to go golfing, but looks like I'm planning on suffering this afternoon. But not all suffering is bad. If you do good and you suffer for it, then you are following in Jesus' steps. And following in Jesus' footsteps is right where you want to be.